There are legends of people born with the gift of making music so true it can pierce the veil between life and death, conjuring spirits from the past and the future. In ancient Ireland, they were called Philly. In Choctaw land, they called them firekeepers. And in West Africa, they're called griots. This gift can bring healing to their communities, but it also attracts evil.
Welcome back to the Hiding for Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark.
I'm Tawan.
I'm Elion.
And today we're reviewing Sinners, released in 2025, written and directed by Ryan Coogler. Elion, can you please give the people the plot summary?
Twin brothers Smoke and Stack return to their hometown after years in Chicago, with a goal to open a juke joint to serve the local black community, but their plans are thwarted by a supernatural evil.
But before we get into our movie this week, let's go over our Haddonfield headline. First up on the docket, this was just announced today, August 20th. Halloween the Game. Now, if you are listening to Gamer game based off of a horror franchise in the past 5+ years, if whatever you're thinking of is Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you are absolutely correct. That's what this is. So, Halloween the Game, single player and multiplayer stealth video game releasing in 2026. Now, they did mention, as I said, there's a single player aspect. As to what that will look like, we don't know. But we do know that this will be another one of those asymmetrical horror games. In a sense, one person's going to be Michael Myers, and the rest of you are going to be running for your lives, trying to get away from them. So, I don't know how I feel, especially after the announcement we just got recently about the Hellraiser game. That's a full on
Single player.
single player game. I don't even remember if that announced anything in relation to a multiplayer aspect, but even if it does, it's
Didn't.
gonna be
It said,
a
no,
side thing.
it did. It mentioned that it was going to be fully single player. And that's what a Michael
Yeah.
Myers game needs. Like, I don't think Michael Myers, the Halloween franchise, leads to a multiplayer game. Because it's rare that we ever see him like go after several people at once. I mean, we saw a little bit of that in Halloween Kills, but that also just felt wrong. Like it needed to just be single player, and you're either Lori or you're Michael, or you can be whoever the hell else you want to be. And for me, it has Gun and Interactive, and I have no faith in them. Like, yes, it wasn't their fault what happened with the Jason game. They were committed to the Jason game. They were going to do the Jason X level, but the rights issue got in the way and it had to stop. But then the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. They had that game for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to stop updates and we're going to be cutting servers soon. Like, I'm trying to avoid having that same rant I had, Tuan, when we talked about the Hellraiser game. I have no
Hmm.
faith in these horror movie based games. Like, we were let down with Texas Chainsaw, let down with Friday the 13th. People were let down with Evil Dead. I heard, I haven't heard shit about the Killer Clown video game. I know it's been around for a while, haven't heard much. But, like, you said something when we talked about the Hellraiser game, and you said those games Texas Chainsaw Massacre and all of those, they were just Dead by Daylight in different skins. And Hellraiser seems like it's going to be a completely different, its own
Yeah,
thing outside of that. And I think that's why Hellraiser is going to succeed. This is just giving me Dead by Daylight Halloween skin, and we already have that. There's a Halloween skin, Halloween mode in Dead by Daylight. So like, I
I was
don't
wondering that because I hadn't. I don't. I tried playing Dead by Daylight. I really couldn't get into it personally as much as I would like to because of all the collabs and stuff. But I just couldn't get into it. But I was thinking, I was like, I could have
same.
sworn there was Michael Myers in there.
It was
Um,
Michael Myers, and I think they were able to name drop Laurie Strode. I don't remember if they could. I think they did, but it's like we already have this.
yeah, he is in
So
there.
what are you gonna do? Yeah, he's in there. He's in there, Ghostface, Freddy. And
Yeah, I
it's
know
like,
Ghostface.
how are you gonna make this different from what we had on Dead by Daylight? Like it needs to be different. Like we already had this. Like I don't see. I don't know. I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer, but like I don't. I don't care.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not that into it either. And also, like, I was kind of looking a bit into what the quote unquote single player is supposed to be, but it feels like it's multiplayer and they're tacking on a little single player type of thing to kind of get people and like say, hey, we got single player too, but it looks very small as to what they're offering up with it. Uh, I I know a lot of people were tired of the studio, but I really do wish Telltale Games was still around because a lot of some horror movies could fit really well into Telltale like experiences, especially like a Scream, and also think in this instance a a Halloween game
Hellraiser
could
would be
work.
perfect for that too.
I think I like Hellraiser. I think I could. I like what like Hellraiser they're doing like an actual like third person or first person experience because you know they have all
Mm-hmm.
the different like like areas of like the
Xenobites.
hell world and shit and
Oh
all
yeah.
that and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I think is that, but I think for like more like this type of vibe like a slasher like the Telltale thing could work a bit more, especially because I mean, most of the times in these slashers, it's a lot of like, yeah, there's a lot of killing, but there's a lot of characters talking and just doing shit and making decisions, and that's literally Telltale Games.
Yep.
So we'll see what comes of it. If it goes to the Microsoft Game Pass, I might get on there. But next on the docket, Weapons was the number one movie at the box office for its second weekend and has hit a 148 million worldwide box office return right now. We spoke about it a bit last week, and yeah, horror is still winning. What can we say? What can we say? We were we're gonna talk about it later in this episode discussing Sinners, but I believe as of right now, in regards to original horror movies, this will be the number two spot behind Sinners. We'll see what it ends up at, but as of right now, it's doing really good. And I actually got to see the movie this past weekend. Um, if you liked it, I love it, but we'll get into it whenever we review Weapons. We'll probably do like a little duology with Barbarian and Weapons around that time. But yeah, I have thoughts on it. I don't know what Mark thought about it yet. I know he saw it also.
I I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. There were parts that kind of just took me out. I feel like the
Mm,
story and the execution and some parts just seemed off. I was left more confused and dissatisfied, then I don't know. I don't know. It's a decent movie. It's just something's missing. Like I don't know if that means anything. It's just something's not right. Like it's not bad. I don't know what I needed.
Yeah, I can't wait for us to get when we actually review that one. I think that'll be an interesting episode dissecting that for sure. If I just had to say anything on it, I feel that the mystery and intrigue behind what was happening was better than what we got. And I'll just leave it at that for now. But to wrap up our headlines, our last story of the day, it is not fully horror, but it's horror adjacent. And me and Mark are excited because Anna Faris and Regina Hall are returning for the Scary Movie reboot movie that'll be releasing in summer of 2026. If you all are unaware, we have spoken on this before. The Wayans brothers got the rights back to Scary Movie, and there will be a new one releasing next year. And we were all wondering, would Anna Faris and Regina Hall be back, our baddie duo? And they will. And I'm so excited because them coming back just gives me so many ideas of where they could go with this. The last Scary Movie came out, I think that was 2015. That one that had Ashley Tisdale in it, Scary Movie 5. I believe. I'm just gonna look it up here. Yep, Scary Movie. Oh, 2013. Scary Movie 5 came out in 2013. So they have a lot of fucking material to do with this movie. Like, there's so many directions I can see them going in. The one that I'm hoping, which I've said this for the longest, is they need to have Anna Faris as like Laurie Strode, Sidney Prescott in this, like coming out of retirement to help like the newbies or some shit. Um,
I just need Anna Faris do that goddamn pearl dance audition
yes,
scene, and I'm good. That alone is a cash. I need that scene to be reenacted.
yes, I need that scene to be reenacted. I need them to do the pole from Hereditary when the head got smacked
Yes,
off. I need that in
yes.
there.
I need to
I
see
need
somebody in the the flower queen shit
no the
from
mate yeah from Midsommar.
yes. Like
Let's
there are
see.
so many movies that have come out that I need to see parodied by
Um,
this, and it's the whole team. It's not just Anna Faris and Regina. It's also the Wayne. Like you have the dream team from those first two movies, and on like honestly, the first two are the best ones.
yep.
Like I still enjoy three, and I kind of like four, but five was like no, like you don't got Anna Faris at least. Why are you playing with me? But having I had a feeling that Anna Faris might come back, but getting Regina back, like come on now,
Hmm.
I'm I'm sad. Having all four of them back, I'm sad. I don't even care who the rest of the cast is because they never really important anyway. But also, has it been said if I know they're returning for like the creative behind the scenes stuff, but like, do you think there's a chance that they will also be bringing back Shorty and Ray?
I hope so. Like they
I need
haven't
a
said
floor.
it.
I need you to bring back Shorty and Ray. Like, come on, please.
Yeah, they haven't said if they're returning in like the acting capacity, but I do hope we get them back in there. That'll be really hilarious.
It would be a
Um,
sin not to. Like, you
yeah,
bring back Shorty and Ray, please.
yeah, they really should. But yeah, there's so many directions that they could take this in. Um, I really hope they knock it out the park. The fans are wanting this. of like scare movie, like especially like people like in our age range. We all grew up on these fucking movies, so like this is I think it's gonna do good when it releases. Also, like yes, I put my trust in the Wayans, but I did see the Naked Gun like reboot this past weekend as well, and that shit was funny as fuck. And I really would not mind if they got the writer from that movie to aid in this, because that's like this is like the first time in a long time that I've seen like a parody movie like give me the exact like jokes and type of gags that I want out of a movie like that. And I think Akiva Schaffer, I think his name, who I think he was the writer and director for Naked Gun, or I think maybe he was just director and co-writer, but he was great with the stuff that he did for the Naked Gun reboot with Liam Neeson. Have you seen that yet, Mark?
No, not yet. I'm
Mark,
apprehensive.
Mark,
What?
it's it's funny. It's funny
Now,
as hell.
you know how I am about remakes. It takes me a while.
It really don't matter though. I feel like in this instance, it shouldn't matter.
I might give it a try. I'm excited. I love Pamela Anderson and I love Liam Neeson, so I might just go pop over and give it a try.
Because it's not like Leslie Nielsen is here to do it. So
I mean, yes, and all those movies were loosely connected anyway, so
yeah. Plus, they did the whole thing and made him his son in here. So it,
nice.
it worked. It works. But yeah, that shit was that movie was actually very funny, and I think if they got some of the people that worked on that to help with this new scare movie, it'll be perfect. Because I don't know if you know Akifa Schaffer, he was a part of like the Lonely Island with like Andy Samberg and them. All their shit was like funny as fuck. That wraps up our How to Feel headlines this week. Now we shall get into Sinners.
I have to say, I remember some of the early like word and like rumors about this movie when it was like still in the development stages. Um, but I didn't really pay attention to this movie at all. Like even when the trailers were dropping and I saw the images of Michael B. Jordan, I paid no mind, no attention to this movie. Like it was not on my radar. Like yes, Michael B. Jordan is cute. He's one of those soap opera actors that I follow to certain projects, but like I don't jump to watch every single Michael B. Jordan movie, and nor do I do the same with Ryan Coogler. So I wasn't really up with the hype on this one. It wasn't until
Didn't you see
the
both
word
Black
of mouth.
Panthers?
I've watched every single MCU product from Thor in the Dark World to that horrible Ant-Man 3. I saw both Black Panthers because it was part of the MCU.
Still have to watch.
And I
Well, then you
watched
seen the third Ryan Coogler filmography? Because I
oh
mean,
well,
he only
see,
got like 5 movies.
oh well, see, I didn't even know that. I thought he had more. So okay, that well, yeah. So I really didn't. I because of Black Panther, because I know Michael B. Jordan, I was sure that there was going to be it was going to be a good movie. I wasn't even really sure this movie was. I kept hearing it was a horror movie, but I didn't really. The promotion wasn't really giving me that. I really didn't even see the promotion. What got me hyped for this movie was when it opening day and when people were taking the fucking little videos and like they were posting certain it was literally the scene with Haley Steinfeld and I was like, okay, this is interesting. I think I might wanna watch this. It was the scene where she was at the train station with Stack. And I was like, what kind of movie is this? Because I heard it had vampires, so I immediately went to go watch it and blown away, completely shocked. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but I was happy with the journey they took us on. And I don't know, this is a good movie from the way it looks, from the sound design, the set design, the script, the acting, like all around. Like, this is a good movie. But what about you, Twan? I know you followed this movie from day one.
You are very correct. So, opposite of Mark, who had no idea, I was very much looking forward to this one. Like when it was first announced, like sometime last year. It was like almost the beginning of last year that there was like an untitled vampire movie, Ryan Coogler, and there was like
Question.
a big bidding war for it. Huh?
But was it? Were there like? Did we hear about this pre-strike?
Yes.
Okay, because is it my imagination? But was old was that one guy attached to this movie at one point,
Who?
or was that just speculation?
Who?
Jonathan Majors.
No.
I swear I was seeing like stuff
No. He was
like with
he
him
was
and
never he was never attached to this movie at all. It was just, people, including me, were thinking that he probably could have been in here
because of
as,
his aesthetic.
yeah, more so for his aesthetic, and also kind of like him and Michael B. Jordan and also Ryan Coogler after they did Creed 3. They were kind of, people were kind of like him and them like another like De Niro Pacino type of duo, and then Coogler was the director type of guy because they were planning on doing some more stuff together, but Majors got caught up in his whole situation, so um, that put an axe on his shit, on his own stuff. So that was all on him, but he was never actually attached to um, be a part of the movie in any way. Uh, um, but it was when it was like announced and like there was this whole bidding war for it, and I was like, oh shit! And once eventually got picked by um, like Warner Bros. Picked it up, and I was reading about like the really good deal that Ryan Coogler got out of it and everything. So I was like, once reading all that, I was like, okay, this might be a good one. And then I think I was even more excited for what was to come with this because how Marvel is fucking up with not releasing this Blade movie and not getting it right. That Ryan Coogler was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna do it myself. Because at one point he wasn't attached to like actually direct Blade, but he had some creative involvement with it, and Marvel was just not like really doing shit with the project, and he wrote this in his downtime, and now we have what we got here with Sinners, and it was definitely one of my most like look forward to movies for this year. When I saw it, when I saw like the trailer first time, I was locked in. I immediately was like ready for it, and yeah, I think I ended up seeing this one like 4 times in theaters while it was out, and I would still go back and see a couple more times because is a really good viewing experience in theaters. Not saying you won't get a good watch of it at home. It's still a good movie, but it's definitely one of those ones that seeing it in the theater for that first time, it gives you a more full experience, in my opinion. Mark doesn't agree, but he's weird,
I
so
actually
we
do.
move.
I actually do. This was a great watch in theaters. Actually, like I think it helped with doing like watching it in Dolby and getting that like amazing sound design from the theater from the
Mhm.
acoustics is perfect for this is the one time where I'm like watch this in theater. You need those theater sounds. You need to like be trapped in it for the music. You just need to be fully immersed into sound design for this one. Like you can't escape it. Like again, it still sounds good in at home, but nothing beats that theater experience with the sounds.
Yeah, it was great. I love pretty much everything like about this one. It was like I like the screenplay, and especially I know Mark can relate because I know some of his families from like the down south as well. Like I got a lot of family on my mom's side that is from Mississippi, so a lot of this stuff, like when I was watching it with them for first time, like her and my aunt who were both from down there, like they were like like not they were like around then, but a lot of stuff that they heard growing up were like things that they were seeing in this movie from like their older like family members and stuff. So it was like it was a good watch experience for that. You could tell that they put a lot of care into accurately capturing like that Mississippi Delta like feel, with the way that they had the sets and like the stores, like showing like sharecropping and things like that. Mentioning when the brothers like went off, they were in like Prohibition era, like Al Capone and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff was just like very accurate, and you could tell that the production and Coogler, they all worked really hard to put that in here. And as Mark mentioned, the music was and the sound design was really good here. Um, I still listen to a couple of tracks from the score and also just the soundtrack in general. Ludwig Göransson, who did the score, he ate and he hasn't missed yet. Like he makes some really good scores. He has yet to miss with me, and um, the entire cast was really good, especially Miles Caden, or I think it's Caden or Katan. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's Caden. Who played Sammy. This was his first movie, and that was crazy when I saw that. Like afterwards, did not know this was his first role, and he knocked it out the park. Everybody else was great, including Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld. Liked all of that. So I'm really nothing but praise for this one. If I'm being honest, it's definitely gonna be it's gonna be a glazed session from Tawan with this movie. But I wonder what did Elion think, because this is his first watch before the episode.
For me, I have heard of Sinners. I've seen, the clips of Sinners throughout, like, or like maybe some trailers, like ads. I never really paid attention to it. I I knew what it was about, but it took such a huge turn like halfway through because, like I said, I already knew what was happening. I already knew like the whole plot story prior to watching the film, but it was just an interesting kind of add on to it because as I'm reviewing the movie, it was like just the beginning part was so good. Like I don't have the right words at the moment. Just like the in depth of what they did with all the characters, the backstories, on top of like how they made it really like how they made the set look like for that time frame. Um, it was a great paced film. On top of that, I the story was not even boring at all. You get layers and layers and layers where it keeps you still engaged. Um, then halfway through, like I felt like the whole story just like did a full switch because I'm like I was expecting it, but at the same time I wasn't expecting it. So it was it wasn't bad at all. It was very exceptional. I don't even have the correct words to say how good this film was, even especially with the limited amount of information I had for it. Um, I felt like the casting was great. Like I know that we obviously I do love Michael B. Jordan. Like he's a very fine man, but he plays this role really good. Especially how he has to play two roles at once. He did an amazing job on that. Uh, and then I have some more thoughts, but I kind of want to just get into it later on. But I really loved this film a lot.
Well, let's move on to some standout moments, some standout scenes, some standout kills. Just overall, Tuan, why don't you kick us off?
Well, I'll kick it off with the one scene that maybe we all were gonna say, but it's the one that I always I look back if I'm like thinking about this movie. I just watch the clip when Sammy is singing at the juke joint, and they start showing like how the music is fueling the energy from like the past, the present, the future, with all the different cultures and stuff mixing in the room, and just the way it was shot was really smooth. The way like the music and everything blended together was really dope there. Um, it was just it was just really cool to see like on screen the first time. Like that was definitely like a really like good first watch like experience, like seeing that scene. And like Mark mentioned, with especially if you've seen it like Dolby or one of like theaters with like a better sound system, it came across really well. And then that just cut, not like cut, but that kind of transition to from what's going on inside, like everybody's having a good time, to just seeing Remick and his two goons behind him, and he's just smiling because he's wanting to take that shit away. And it's like, damn, the juxtaposition of that is crazy. Like you having a good time, but it's kind of just you know you see the POC people of color kind of doing their thing, and then there's the white man just waiting outside to take it away. And that's how it was though. Like it was literally like that in the movie, but um, they kind of played at that like really well. Also, um, when Cornbread tried to come in and he was not letting his ass get inside of there, that was that was too fucking funny when that happened. I'm trying to remember exactly. Oh yeah, he had his hand out waiting for that fucking change. Yeah, that scene I always like. That one was so funny to me. They meme the fuck out of that one online, but it was really funny. That was a good one. Um, Another one which was earlier on before they actually had the juke joint going, when Stack went to go see Annie for the first time, and they kind of had that really good scene together. Both of them, um, they acted really well in that one, and um, shouts out to I forget how to pronounce her first name. I think it's One Me. Yeah, One Me. She's the one who plays Annie. She was really good throughout the whole movie, but I really liked that scene and like kind of them talking about their daughter, and then Stack. She asked him if he was still wearing like the chain that she gave him to kind of ward off like any evils that he may cross like throughout his life. And even though he didn't believe it because it was from her, he was still wearing it. And I was like, damn. And then they kind of get into their little like sex scene or whatever. And she said, your body hasn't for like your body still remembers me. And I was like, damn. I was like, hold on. That was good. But I'm gonna pass it off.
To Elion.
I the one scene I really did enjoy, and I kind of saw the symbolism of it, was when Remick was doing the Irish jig. A lot of I've heard some people were laughing at it with not, uh, but then I because I know what happened with the Irish. I kind of saw it as a cultural mirror. Uh, so when I say that, it's because like both um the Irish never faced the radical radicalization of slavery as Black people did, but the Irish were also oppressed within the societies, especially here in the United States. They were dehumanized, and they were basically marginalized throughout the whole history, especially during this time frame. I kind of saw it more of like how African Americans and the Irish kind of use music and rhythm as a way of survival tools against the oppression. Um, and I remember like how Tom was talking about like the the scene where Sammy was going through the past, the present, the future. It it also kind of just it was like it showed like a symbolism of like of liberation, but also community. But then we see Remix Jig, and he uses it like he weaponizes it, and it's too late. And my point is not to make both histories equal because it'll never be equal, but it's just to show like the expression that they both try to preserve their own identity, And especially in the wrong hands, they can like it displays dominance, especially like just how Remick did. He basically an Irish vampire. He he basically did what he did. Um, so another that's one thing that like I really enjoyed. Like it was like a little, it was kind of like a side mirror, like how like just to like refresh what I say, it's a side to side mirror of like what like two types of cultures went through. I'm not going to say they're going to be equal at all, but they face a form of oppression per se. Um, once I think sad scene I get. I couldn't even take it so sad because I didn't know how to react to it because Twan brought it up. Was when was it like I felt so bad for him because he obviously came back to see like he had this this sadness, especially like losing his daughter. But then I it kind of reversed once what like you just said about like like you can't forget about this body. I was like, oh shit, they're going right straight through it. Okay, gotcha. Um, Another symbolism I saw was like Smokey's and what's her name again? I forgot her name. Yeah, Smokey and Mary's relationship. Like it's also like the other symbolism I saw was the oppression. Like when a black person dating a white person, especially during that time frame, it was like seen so badly, and it was very like it was so sad. But I saw his viewpoint where like I love you so much, but I can only love you from afar, especially in this time era where it was very dangerous to be interracial, like an interracial couple.
Well, for me, I think the biggest standout scene is the scene where Preacher Boy is singing, and we just get that. Like we get the metaphor. We get the what he means by his music connecting the past, the present, and the future. But then like showing that to us visually by having all the different kinds of music represented, and then also like throwing in the Asian culture because you have the two Asian characters there. That entire scene was amazing. And then when you pull back and the whole like juke joints burning, but you still see them dancing, it's just that whole shot was amazing. I remember being in the theater and everyone was just like gasping, and people were actually clapping during that scene alone. And I don't know, it's just a powerful scene to me. And also everything before the juke joint, like just meeting all the main characters were that was all good. Especially when we meet the Asian family and how you see how and being able to see how the Asian family can navigate both sides of the street. Like they are able to walk over to the whites only side, and they have businesses on both sides because they can play both sides. Like, that's some huge symbolism. That's how we see things now, and that's how things have always been. They've always been able to toe the lines until the white people say, "I need you to remember who you are. Remember that you're not one of us." So that was good, and I love the ending scene when Smoke smokes the entire KKK clan that popped up. Like that was amazing,
Exactly.
and also like him, and then him choosing to like to him choosing to die so he can be with his family. Like that was beautiful and had me in tears. I was like, wow, we're really he's gonna be with her and he's gonna be with their kid. Like ah, it was amazing. Oh, and then when you get to the vampires of it all, and honestly, Remix explanation of like they came in here and they forced their religion to my people, just like they forced their religion onto you, and they their forced you into slavery. Like I was following all of that actually. I was with it. I was like, he kind of have points, but now you're also a psychotic vampire who's trying to then force these people into joining you. So you can't. You went from that's what was. I'm gonna save that for the character section, actually. But his scenes, I was kind of getting like a little bit, and then hmm, to say like that scene with Cornbread, I was like, "Sir, we know you dead. Like, we know your big ass is dead." Like, I did feel sorry for him. All he wanted to do was pee. It was his first break. He just needed to go pee, and then he ended up a vampire. It was it was bad. But talking about kill scenes, talking about the whole fight scene in general. Oh, girl, like I got it. I got it. He mentioned your daughter. He mentioned your kid, but you let them in, and then you died. So then you just left. Now
I
your
have a
kid's an orphan.
I have a take.
Go ahead.
Like I was mad. I was mad when it first happened, but once I thought about it, she did do the right thing.
But now her kid's an orphan. Who's the kid gonna go?
I get
This
that, but look, if she hadn't let them in, if they had stayed there, they were just gonna leave and fuck up the whole rest of the town.
true. It would have been a lot more of them.
And like they wouldn't have had no chance at that point.
But by the time they got through with the whole town, it would have been daylight.
And you think Remick would have just not had them hole up inside until nighttime and come back?
Well, when the
Like they
daylight
be able
hits,
to,
yeah, when daylight hits, y'all get in the cars and y'all drive the fuck away.
but you also got to remember though that the KKK was gonna be back in the morning.
I mean, but when he went through the whole town, I'm pretty sure he would have got the KKK too, because he also knew where they were located.
He does, but he also knew their plan. He could have just let the shit happen. Like either way, they weren't it was kind of a damn if you do, damn if you don't. If they stayed there, they'd go get like shot the fuck up. If they left or if they let them in, they like well we saw what happened. But if they just let it go, went how it went, the daughter was gonna die anyway. At that point, at least she's still alive. I understand. Yeah, she's an orphan now.
And
Sad,
she might
but
not be alive. I mean, who's to say that now that the parents are gone, they might not loot the businesses and kill her? Where's the
well, she
protection?
has a well. We know how long they've been together and all that shit. Like not together. We know well. Not,
Yes, but you
we
can't
know that
say
they've been
that
apart.
that they're fully accepted in the community. Like once the parents are gone, that safety net is also technically gone. So she could be killed. She could be taken.
No, I was saying, but she was working in the store and everything, and like, but she's also been a part of that community. I'm sure if they like whatever happened, like she would have been taken care of by the rest of the community. Not maybe not the white community, but the black people that was a part of the
Definitely not.
community. So like I
I
don't think there
mean,
would have been an issue of that personally, especially seeing like how close like the Stack twins were to them, and it seemed like everybody else in the community knew of their family as well. Like and they were pretty accepted. So it didn't seem to be like I feel like if anything were to happen to the parents, they would happily like the community would get behind Grace. I mean, not Grace, Lisa. But I feel as though it's a kind of damn if you do, damn if you don't. There's a lot of other ways that things could have panned out for them had the vampires not gotten in, and I think each other scenario is not as good because all those people they could have went back to town, or they could have killed the other vampires or whatever, or killed the other like citizens and community members. Then arrested like people who were left inside of the juke joint, along with like our main characters. They would have went back to their homes and probably got like bitten up too and shit. Like it's a lot of other things I think could have happened. Like I was mad initially, still am initially, but I feel like when we think about it, there's they were gonna get they weren't really gonna survive the night.
that scene was crazy, but also how she died was crazy. Her, like her and her husband set on fire. Oh my god! Like I was like,
Yeah,
crazy visual, crazy
yeah.
visual, but damn, did it look good.
It did
It
look good, and,
did.
I'm like, damn. But she did what she had to do. Because I mean, like, let's if we just going off other shit, um, if she, as long as she got him out, if none of them, if any of them survive, or if Remick was still surviving, like he wouldn't have those memories of his to like latch onto anymore. At least that's my headcanon.
True.
Her killing Bo basically breaks him from the chain.
Well, now it's time for us to move on to the characters, and we're gonna start with a little foursome that we can just run straight through: Perline, Cornbread, Grace, and Bo. Now, Perline,
Miss
girl,
Pearline.
girl, where is your husband? Where is your husband, Perline?
Leave her alone. Leave her alone.
Where is
Her
he?
husband. Her husband was at home while she was getting her kitty ate. Leave her
While she
be.
was being ate out at the juke joint, Perline, go. Now, if she
Miss
had stayed at
Cause
Pearline.
she
home with
was the
her
hot.
husband,
Cause she's the hot girl
but
that she is. Mind your business. Let her do what she gotta do.
so
Cause
hot that
obviously
she
she's not getting
burned
pole
that
at home.
so hot that she burned in the sun. If she would have stayed her fast ass at home with her husband, she wouldn't have been a dead vampire.
But she was
Now
not
I
happy with her husband. It was clearly obvious when she was talking with Preacher Boy.
well now she happy and dead. Mm.
Well, better happy than dead than alive and miserable.
I
She got that
guess.
kitty ate one last time, and she was.
I
Uh,
I
like,
guess.
I ain't gonna lie, but motherfucking Pearline was in that bitch praise dancing after she got that thing ate.
she's not God.
She
She's
was
not
speaking in
God.
tongues on stage. Like she
We
was
felt this is.
She became
she was going
feral.
off. Like my sis was going off, but she stuck in it though. But I ain't gonna lie, she was getting on my nerves when they was eating that garlic. And she's like, I don't like the taste of it. It don't matter. Eat the motherfucking garlic.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Like, I was like, please shoot her if you have to. Please shoot her. And I'm glad Sammy got a smack. Like, shut, you don't know this
No, for
woman.
real.
You don't know her. Shut
Like you
up.
just ate it. Like bro, like chill.
What are your thoughts on Cornbread, Grace, and Bo?
Cornbread want that motherfucking money.
I think he wanted to put his pecker in his wife's mouth. That was the main.
Get out.
No, his wife was standing up busy. She's like, "How much you paying them?"
Right? She was like, fuck all that shit you talking about. How much you paying?
Oh god.
Tell
Oh
his ass
shit.
to go.
Um, I feel cornbread. Yeah, just he was. I want to talk more about Grace though in a second.
Oh, go for it.
I I I just like the symbolism where you live two lives. You can be in both worlds, but you're obviously going to be treated differently on each side. That's what I saw with them. But Loki Bo was kind of.
Oh yeah,
Now I
he
know the
Bo
was.
Asian
could get it.
persuasion. Oh, oh my.
Oh shit! No, they were cool peoples though. What I like about the relationship with like Grace and Bo and like how they were with the twins is like it just felt like they were just old friends. Like when they popped back up, they were like, "Okay, what you need? We got this for you. Like we can do this for you." When Stack was, I mean, when fucking yeah, it was Stack when he told Bo to handle that situation outside with the guy that he shot who was trying to like steal out of his truck. Bo was like, "Yeah, we got that for you, bro. Like it's all good." Like I just like how chill they were about them. Like even though like they see like they kind of had like a reputation like they were still like they still had like good relationships with everybody. Like it don't seem like they were like fucking like people over and shit like that. Like it just seems like they just had a reputation for being kind of trouble starters, which okay, understandable, but they weren't like they never were like rude or anything like that. Like they were just about their business. And I like how they like their
That
relationship was like Grace and Bo.
Oh, next up is Annie. Annie was a interesting addition to this clan. No pun intended. But Twan, what are your thoughts on little Annie?
Annie was a really good character, and one thing that I really liked about her character, um, and also how like the other characters were reacting to her, is they took her at her word for what she knew about what was happening. Like, usually in some movies, you get like the character that's kind of like the quote unquote expert of either like supernatural or what's going on. And then people try to say, or they'll try to say like, okay, I think this is what's happening. And the other character shoot them down. Or whereas like, I feel like in this movie with Annie, like when she spoke up and was like, saying what this could be, and eventually we got to the vampires, like the characters are on board. They were like, okay, yeah, this is what it is. And I like that, and like I like that about like how they were following her lead and what she was telling them to do. And I think that she just had a really good like commanding presence over the group, telling them how to handle the situation. And knowing that she didn't want to come back as one of them. So when it came that time for Smoke to make a decision about it, um, at the end of it all, she was like she was glad that he went along with it and stuck to her wishes. So she was really good. I liked her performance throughout. Um, and it's also crazy with the actress that plays her, because if I'm not mistaken, just like a lot of other times with these actors and their accents, this woman is British, if I'm not mistaken, and
Is she?
you she could have
Damn.
she bro, they be fooling the fuck out of me every time. They get me every time. They get my ass every time, because yeah, she is definitely like, I think like Nigerian British.
Period. We love that.
Yeah, them because I think I saw her in an interview for the movie, and I was like, oh shit, what the fuck? But yeah, she's really good. I liked Annie's character.
Well, I think I just want to say that I loved her relationship with Smoke. It's like she could read him and knew exactly what he was thinking, what he was
Oh, I bet
planning,
he
and
was. I bet she was.
I love that. Like I don't I don't know what it was, but like I wasn't expecting that connection, that relationship. But then once I saw the interaction before they had sex, I was like, oh, I get it. And it just made the sex scene even better. And then seeing them afterward, like, I so wanted them to be together. But I knew once she made Smoke promise that he would kill her before she turned into one of those vampires. I said, "Oh shit, Annie's gonna die in this movie." Like I just
Hmm.
once that scene happened, I was like, "She's gonna die, and he's gonna have to kill her." I knew it was coming, but when it happened, I'm not gonna lie, I still shed a little tear. I was like, "Oh my god." She's like, "I got somebody waiting for me," and then just to see her and the baby waiting for Smoke at the end.
That
I
was
was like,
cute.
oh, I was like, damn, I'm about to cry. Like, why is this movie gonna make me cry? Y'all got vampires, damn it. I'm supposed to be sad. But then I don't know, I just love her. She was informative, she was strong, she wasn't scared. Like she was up with it at all times. I enjoyed that. But I also enjoyed Mary. Mary was interesting. I was from the clips I had saw before the movie, I kept trying to figure like how does Mary fit into this story? But then learning that she has a past both Smoke and Stack, and that she was also romantically involved with Stack, and her mom's dad was half black, so she has some black in her lineage in her blood, and I think that she was a good addition. And when it came to Smoke, Stack, Mary, and Annie. and even Cornbread to a degree, you could see that the five of them really had like a connection. Like
Yeah,
they grew up
Yeah.
together, the five of them. Like all four of them knew Annie. They had a banter, they had a relationship, and that was I don't know, that they had a good chemistry. And it's like, oh, okay, I see where she fits in this. She is that little girl they all took care of and watched grow up and grew up with. And I don't know, she fits in a way that I can't understand, I can't explain. But what about you, Elian? What are your thoughts on Mary?
Basically what you guys said, but it was also just more like what I kind of just gonna repeat myself. What I said when we were talking about our scenes is just like uh Mary. She was an interesting character. Like it's good to know that. I like that, instead of like until like the end, they kind of did it like beginning halfway through where we find out that she is basically what, a quarter black at this point.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
And but on top of that, it just shows that at the end she doesn't see she she's white, but she also accepts that she is who she is, which I do love. She doesn't try to hide it, but people force her to hide it, especially with what's his name, Stack, when he with Stack, especially when he tried to find her a white husband, rich everything, but she wanted him. She didn't care of like any of the struggle. She didn't care about that. All she cared about was the person that she loved. Um, and that's what I loved about that character, because at the end it's just like she's not seeing, she doesn't like, she wanted to be the braveness of like like, I don't care what people think of us. And then she was wild when she was a vampire, when what she said to Stack about her punani, but we can talk about another time. She was wild for that. What exactly she said, like
I mean,
something about
she was trying to prove her point. Like, how you gonna tell me to fuck off and then you gonna give me some good dicking afterwards? Like, I
right.
would also be confused. Like, what are we doing here? So she was valid. She was valid across the board. What about you, Twan? What are your
Right.
thoughts on Mary?
yeah. I like Mary's character as well, and then kind of going off what you said, like with you could see them all being like a collective with each other. Like I kind of got that. I kind of got that energy too. Um, Such as like when Remick came to the door and they were like, well, we don't really think you should be here. He was like, well, what's she doing in there? And Annie was like, well, she family. Now what? Essentially. So I did like that camaraderie that they all had with each other. But as far as Mary, like herself, like she was a good fit, and it's also kind of one of those things where you know well, yes, Haley Steinfeld herself is like a part black as well, but she's not black to the eye, like, or African American to the eye, anything like that. So,
And
in that time, a
I
lot of
love
people,
that I love that she like Haley Steinfeld herself. She's like, yeah, I'm half black, I have that, but she also knows that like, okay, I can't fully take this because of how which some people don't do. It's like, okay, yes, you are, but because you don't fully look it, you don't have the struggle, so you need to know the place. I'm gonna cut this part, by the way.
yeah, and it's kind of that the whole thing of like passing, like people who are able to like pass in that time. Like there've been other movies about like stories like that where there were some women who were black or mixed, but they looked close enough to white so that they were past, like white passing, like we call it out now, but like they were able to just pass like just slightly enough to be
Yeah, I mean
considered
now we
that.
call it
So
problematic, but back then that was life saving.
yeah, so like in her situation though, she was just, but she was raised like with them and everything like that. So that's not how like she felt. Like she was raised like with them and everything. So she felt slighted by them, kind of just tossed her off as like that one white girl who was with us. Um, and Oh, I was about to say, lose my train of thought. In addition, you could just tell, even though she was upset with the situation, she had a lot of love still for Stack, and still wanted to be with him. And I'm sure, like, had she never come across him again, like, she probably would have been fine. But seeing him in that moment, and he's just coming back to kind of do his thing, and like not even interact with her, it brings back all those feelings. They get, I saw they get to talking and stuff, and they were kind of seeming as if, if nothing happened with Remick and things like that, it probably would have like been fine. Like they probably could have rekindled, but it just, well, I mean, well, we saw it. They essentially did do that. It did do just that. But I'm just thinking in a scenario where they didn't get turned into fucking vampires, because that's what they essentially did. Was they ended up together. I mean, they wouldn't have had nobody else either way, because they at this point they we don't know what they did in their escapades across the years, but I'm just gonna assume, let's say they're the only two left. So they only got each other once it came to the end of it all, which is what she wanted, and Stack did want. He just wanted to like separate himself.
Well, Tuan, what are your thoughts on Stack?
Stack was funny as fuck throughout the whole movie. When he was dropping like jokes and shit and everything, he had me like dying. I think it was like even the first one when the guy was like, "Oh, you guys twins? Nah, we cousins." Like just that immediately I was like, "Okay, I see what we're doing." It was fun. It was cool, and Michael B. Jordan did a really good job with splitting the two personalities of these two. We've seen, I'm sure we all have like seen movies like this before, where an actor has played, dual roles, or like more than dual roles in a movie, and sometimes it can be a hit, sometimes it can be a miss. But I think he brought like a different vibe to both of them, that you can split and tell the two apart, even though this is one actor doing both roles, and it was really good to see, like um, for him to do. And I think the way that he kind of did Stack's character was like they were both like cool, like Smoke and Stack, but kind of Stack had more of a bit of kind of like more of like a swagger to him in a way. Like he was kind of more like the playboy type as compared to Smoke, who was more on the like books business side of things. So, but they kind of were like a codependent type of duo. They did need each other to like work. So they leveled each other out in that way. But Stack, he was more about like the money. Like he's just trying to get like he's just trying to get the money up. As mentioned, his relationship with Mary was an interesting one. Do I? Hmm, no, I'm gonna reframe what I was about to say there. His relationship with Mary was an interesting one, and it's also, damn, I keep losing my fucking train of thoughts with this one. I'm thinking of a lot of shit right now for this movie. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to cut myself off. Yeah, well, yeah, his relationship with Mary, that was a good aspect. I feel like I covered a lot of that when I was just talking about her, so I don't want to kind of retread anything. So I'll kind of let you guys take the lead now, and give your thoughts on Stack.
I just love how they were. I just love how Stack was literally the polar opposite of Smoke. He was basically the jokester. Smoke was the full serious one, but also Stack was very he was very understanding, and he was like he understood like the struggle, especially like when that scene when they were in the like in the joint where like one of the guys was trying to give him didn't have the right amount, but he still had like little wooden ones, and he tells his brothers
Mhm.
you can't separate people just because like they don't have the full money. You have to understand, we all this is a welcoming place, and you have to understand the struggle because they both understand the struggle of what it is. Um, and, uh, he really did give up a lot, especially with his like with Mary. That's her name, Mary. Uh, giving her like he hides his feelings a lot, especially for a woman that he obviously loves, but he can't. He it's not that he can't. He just doesn't want them to be in danger, especially her. But he he basically has a form of tough love that he tries to hide it, but it's kind of hard.
Well, what are your thoughts on Smoke?
Um, he's very serious, but I understand why. Especially, we find out that his daughter passed away. On top of that, he sees life as realistic as it is. He's not trying to put he's not trying to put any rose-colored glasses on top. He sees the world for what it is for its reality, and he just prefers to be more strict and reserved in life over trying to be just like how Sack is very understanding. He's like at the end, it doesn't matter. This is what really dominates the world, like money, basically.
Yeah, Smoke. He was So as Elion kind of mentioned, and I was kind of saying as well, like he was giving that like the opposite of what Stack was. He was kind of more level headed out of the two of them, and more of kind of like the businessman, and like they both were about the business, but he was more okay, this is the money we got to put out, this is what we got, this is how we need to do the business. And I liked how he wasn't kind of like shooting down things that Stack would bring up, like, but he wanted to make sure that they could just work it out and work things together. And as I kind of mentioned, they a little bit ago, they kind of had like sort of like a codependency type of thing going on, which is, I would say, I've read that it's kind of like a normal thing for some twins to be codependent. Well, not normal, but normal in the sense that it tends to just happen because they are twins. They grow up like exactly together, all that stuff. So it does tend to happen where twins can be like codependent, and it definitely came across with these two as well. Like them leaving together, coming back and doing this whole like plan and idea, and that came across well in the movie. I also really like Smoke's relationship with Annie. Like he did leave, which I kind of hated. He did that, but it's understandable in the sense that like what grief can do, especially the loss of like a young child. What that grief can do, and like him leaving, but he never gave up on um, Annie's beliefs. Like he always wore the like necklace that she gave him and allowed her to um, make sure that he was like protected no matter what. And even when, as I mentioned earlier, when it came to Annie trying to figure out what was happening, like he was immediately like, okay, Annie says we have to do X, Y, and Z. Like this is what we're doing. Like he wasn't like second guessing or nothing. He knows that she knows her shit, and he put his full trust into her. And I just like that. That was really like nice for that character. And at the end where he had to um fortunately kill her, like as per her wishes. Like I'm sure that was a hard thing for the character to do, but he wanted to respect her wishes and also didn't want to see her return back that way. And I didn't mention this when I was talking about Andy, but just when he did that and you saw it kind of snapped a bit in Mary, like she kind of took her out the trance, like seeing Mary get taken out because like they were all, I mean, sorry, seeing Annie get taken out because they were all like um, we could be family, we're all together, but like once they saw her like actually get taken out to where she couldn't even turn, that was like that kind of shocked them. Uh, and at the end when he fucking um tore up them damn KKK members, that was so satisfying to watch. And him seeing like kind of like his life was kind of leaving the body, and he sees his family and what he's about to go to. It was just really it was sad that he did that, but it was also good.
Well, let's move on to Sammy. I okay with the marketing being around Michael B. Jordan. I thought this would be solely Michael B. Jordan's movie. I'm happily surprised that we have Sammy here, and this is pretty much Sammy's movie in a way. And
Yeah.
kind of, I kind of enjoyed that we got the viewing via Sammy. Like, I actually enjoyed that. A dynamic character. He provides us with that, religious that religious part of it all. And I don't know, opening the movie with him being bloodied and being hurt, and then having to go back to see how we got to that point, and just like watching his journey through it. I don't know, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was great, and then also just like watching him grow from being somewhat like timid and shy, and then seeing how he was spent that short time with Stack, and he just like slowly grew his confidence. And I love that in the end he stood up to his dad. I mean, come on, after you fought and survived vampires, standing up to your father is nothing. And
It's
that
light work.
yes, and he packed up, took his broken guitar, and he went to Chicago and became a famous, blues singer. Like that. Like I love his journey. Again, I was surprised that this ended up actually being Sammy's movie, but it was amazing. It was a good surprise, and it was executed amazingly, and I enjoyed being on his journey.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. Um, Sammy was a really good character, and Miles Caden or Catan, he was great in this role. I'm still not over this being his first role, like in anything. That's still crazy to me.
Hmm.
When I found that out, and but he just fits so well that you don't really even notice. And I think what I liked about the way that the movie was presented in is throughout, like, them getting everything like for the party, like it feels like two different movies, but in a good way. Like it feels like two different movies, and then when you have Sammy's character there, like he's kind of like us, like the audience, because he's catching up with his cousins that he hasn't seen in a while, and like but everything that we get, and plus like the characters that we meet along the way, it doesn't just feel like dialogue spiels, like we're getting exposition dumped on. Like this feels like natural conversation that you would have with like some people you haven't seen in a while, and then you're catching up. You're basically getting the gang back together, type of thing. For like, you haven't seen your group, like your friend group in a while. You getting the gang back together to do like have a good night. It felt like that, and then everything else starts happening. But in that time frame, though, Sammy just fits so well in there as to how things were panning out. Um, his little fling with Perlene was actually like really cute to see throughout the movie. I thought that was a nice addition there. Um, the fact that like the actor was able to sing that good and like bring like Sammy's character to life like that with the music was great. And just how his character was so impactful to the story, as Mark mentioned. Like the music was able to bring the like this. Well, Remick. Well, we know his actual name, but like let's just say like this spirit or entity, in this case Remick, like to them just because he's able to the ancestors. And that's what, Remick wanted to kind of steal away from him by just adding him to his collective almost, because he wanted to see his like family, wife, and all of that. So it was I think it was a really good choice of casting here. Um and Sammy kind of like honed everything together. And also shout out to, well, actually, I'll save that for a behind the scenes fact.
Well, let's talk about this movie's villain, Remick, and well, mostly just Remick, because everyone was Remick. Remick controlled everyone. I loved that he was a three-dimensional, fully realized character, and not just here's the big bad vampire. Like he actually had some type of story, some type of depth. Like he. My part that I liked is that he came from Ireland when, the British did what the British did. They went over, they took the land, they took the property. They're still under British rule to this day. And they dealt with having a new religion forced on them, having a new way of life forced on them. So he understood the oppression that he was seeing in America. I mean, he also came over to America and also dealt with also more depression. But then by him turning people into vampire, like I was gonna mention this earlier, and I might be overthinking it, but he's talking to them saying, I understand you. They forced their religion, they forced their way of life on me, onto my people. They made us forget who we are. But like by you making people vampires, you are now forcing your way of life onto them. You are forcing them to be just like you. You taking away their individuality because now you control pretty much everything they do. So you can't. So him being like, I get you. I'm your brother in arms. But like, sir, you're also doing the exact same thing you're now complaining about and bitching about. And you're doing it even worse because now I'm dead. But again, I like that he had that depth, that he was some mindless vampire who that's all he was. Because that's what I thought we were getting. Well, that's what I thought. But what about you, Elian? What are your thoughts on Rimick?
Normally, sorry, um, just like you said, and just like what I said prior to the scenes, I felt like I went in depth on his character by accident talking scenes and like how just like the symbolism of oppression and how like even though they didn't go through the same things, black and Irish, they understand what it is to basically be forced to do change and having basically that kind of identity taken away from you. And sorry, but it's just how we see both ways. It's just like just like you said that you know that he's basically doing what the British did to the Irish to these people as well. Like he has the message of he has this message of saying like, yeah, we can all be together, we shouldn't be oppressed, but yet you're doing it in a way of oppression in order to satisfy what you want, even if it is in a quote unquote good cause. You're doing it by oppressing, by still doing oppression.
With Remick's character, I think he was handled really well. One thing that I wish we got to see was how the native Indians was whooping his ass because they had him running. When we first got introduced to him, they had that man running for his life. I know they was beating his ass over there.
I No, for real. But I don't know if it was just me, but I also saw, I know I should have said this too, but I saw the symbolism. Like, we see three parties that have been oppressed. We see that, the indigenous were one of them. the mainly oppressed of colonialism, especially in the United States, or just
Hmm.
even just North and South America, actually. And let me not just say just the U.S. So I just found that like they actually did a good way of integrating it, even though it's not much. They did a good job on it.
Yeah,
But I'm still trying to figure
yeah.
out what made them follow it. You know what I mean? Like how did they know? You know what I mean? That was
I,
the mystery for
well,
me.
well, I'm just assuming they probably had his ass captured or something, or they knew, or because they knew he was a vampire, because they told them that Bert and his girl not to invite him in
Yeah.
when they pulled up.
And
So they
and
definitely
they
knew
didn't
he was a
listen
vampire.
because they were racist. Yeah, they were chasing him. They were literally, yeah, they were chasing him to kill him, and they didn't listen because they were racist. And then
Hmm.
they got burnt in the sun afterwards.
But yeah, he was he was running his life at the beginning though. But um, I did like his character. Also, his I liked his actor as well. I didn't notice at first that he was from Skins, the
Oh,
UK
I
show.
clocked it right away. I was like, "Is that Cook?
Oh, really?
Little
Yeah,
cute
I didn't.
Cook." I was like, "Oh, I've seen that man naked. Little cute little
Oh,
white
I gotta
bottom."
see that. What's his name again?
He played Cook in 3 seasons of Skins. Great
Mhm.
show, by the way. If
Yeah,
anyone hasn't watched Skins, every 2 seasons they changed the entire cast. He was part of the second generation and this weird story, and then he came back for the last season. That was like a reunion season for every generation that they called each set of cast. Like he's actually a good actor. Like I was shocked to see him here, but it made sense.
yeah. So yeah, that was like a nice surprise when I finally noticed. I was like, oh shit, that is him. But um, he had a really good performance here as Remick, and it's kind of like one of those villain performances where
Oh my.
you can see the point that they're trying to make, but it's only like as like villains do. They're only doing it in favor of themselves. He doesn't care that Sammy has this gift. He's just like, how can I exploit this gift for myself? Type of thing. And it's like, yeah, it's like, yes, you get it that his culture's been lost, or like he's not able to experience that anymore, or get that type of feeling back, and he wants to use like Sammy's um like creative abilities for his own right, basically. And that's what wherein like the problem lies. Like nobody, like they weren't just gonna give up Sammy, like we can see in the movie. And Sammy was almost gonna give himself up, but that's just because he was a little selfless in that. So he didn't want the rest of them to get killed. But who knows? But if he could have immediately got taken, and like they killed the rest of them. So like there was nothing that was gonna go over in that sense. So they had to hold their own and end up fighting. And it was funny that what ended up like wounding him the most was the thing that he was trying to take from Sammy, which was his music. He used that guitar on top of his motherfucking head, and almost had him good. But Stack came in and not Stack, Smoke. He came and saved the rest of the day. But getting back to like Remick himself, though, I think he was a really good villain. Um, and I like the way they designed him and the other like I like the way they I like the way they did their eyes. I thought that was really cool, especially during the I don't think I mentioned this scene myself, but when they had the scene where he was like doing the little Irish jig outside, and you could just when it was kind of getting darker in that scene, you just saw like their eyes like highlighting or reflecting. Like I like the way that they designed like him and the other vampires. That was really cool.
Well, that has brought us to the end, but not the end quite yet, because Tuan has to give us the behind the scenes info and facts.
And that I will. So the budget for Sinners was between 90 to 100 million, and it made a worldwide box office of 365.9 million, which for original horror movie. Very good ROI. And Ryan Coogler got a hell of a deal on this movie as well. um, some interesting facts. To authentically capture the nuances of twin dynamics, Coogler enlisted real life twin filmmakers Logan and Noah Miller as consultants. They guided Jordan in understanding the unique bond and subtle distinctions between twins, ensuring a portrayal that was both genuine and distinct. The code name for this film was Grilled Cheese. It was a code name because it didn't have a title yet, Ryan told. So no meaning behind it, but that was the code name for the movie. Machine Gun Kelly was offered the opportunity to audition for the role of Bert that ended up going to Peter Dramanis, but he declined because he was not comfortable saying the N word. Um, some of the film's costumes were originally designed by Ruth E. Carter for the planned Marvel Cinematic Universe film Blade, but when production on it stalled, Carter was approached by Coogler to work on this film instead. Given both films shared time period and similar settings within the Prohibition era, Carter was able to reuse her research for Sinners and was allowed by Marvel Studios to buy costumes she originally made for Blade to be used on Sinners. This is why, when this movie first got announced, I was a bit confused because I thought this was gonna be. I thought he was essentially selling what was the Blade script or something like that, or what his take on the Blade script would have been. Because I remember them mentioning that that movie would have been like a Prohibition era movie at the time. Um, and lastly, another fun fact, which not in my notes here, but I remember is at the end of the movie when we see Sammy and like kind of like older. He's played by Buddy Guy, which is a famous jazz, blues. Sorry, not jazz, blues guitarist and singer, and he actually has a club here in Chicago called Buddy Guys, and did a song for the movie as well. To wrap it up with some critics' reactions, the film sits at a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. The music of Sinners was widely praised by critics who noted its centrality to the film's story. David Ehrlich of IndieWire wrote, "This isn't the first time that a Ludwig Göransson score has been inextricable from the texture of a Ryan Coogler movie, but Sinners opens with someone talking about a kind of music so pure it can pierce the veil between life and death, past and future, and then proceeds to show us exactly what that sounds like." Rolling Stone critics stated that the director was swinging wide and far beyond the boundaries of franchise fare. The Washington Post cited Coogler's impressive self-awareness as well as Jordan, Masaku, and Caden's performances. A number of critics suggested that the film's more grounded first half was superior to the supernaturally driven later acts. And lastly, The Observer wrote that Coogler's assurance and vision holds everything together.
Well, we've come to my favorite part. Do we cash or pass, Elion?
Oh, definitely Cash. I'm actually about to rewatch it again. Boyfriend Zach, literally maybe next week because he hasn't seen it yet. So I'm excited to at least be there for his first reaction too. And I it gives me the opportunity to look back at maybe some things I may have not seen, and maybe just greatly appreciate the work that they put on this film. So definitely Cash.
Go on.
I will be cashing on Sinners. Um, it was a cash the first time I saw it, the second time, the third, and the fourth, and the fifth time for when I just watched it for this. I really like this movie. It's I want to say like it's just a vibe. Like the first half of it's really just a vibe. It's just really grounded. Like even if that like let's just say this was just a drama and we got more what we got in the first half, no supernatural stuff, I still would have been okay with what we got. By introducing the supernatural stuff, just at least for me, it elevated it like a bit more. Just because as a podcast mentioned, we're Haddonfield headline, we're Haddonfield horror, so like that's what we're kind of looking for, and that type of vibe is more like my vibe and what I like to see. So I like seeing that introduced, and it was also good, just as we mentioned earlier with some of the other movies we got this year, just original piece. and how popular it got. It did really well, and I'm so glad to see like it did that well. Especially with the cast and everything. Like mostly like black cast here, and plus horror, plus black director. Like there's in the movie industry, those things don't all like mesh together when you like just hear it on paper. So I think it did really well. Um, I'm excited to see what Ryan Coogler's next output is going to be, which I think will be Black Panther 3. Um, but yeah, this definitely gets the cash for me. I've been recommending it to people since I saw it, and I'll keep doing as such.
And for me, it's also a cash. This movie is great from the direction to the acting to the sound design to the score to everything. This movie is just great overall, and I don't know. It's just this isn't the movie I expected, and I don't know what I was going in expecting. But this is a great movie, and I keep going back to that stupid fucking article that we talked about earlier this year. Like, we can't have an oversaturation of horror movies when every horror movie that came out this year has been significantly different from one another. And then you have this, which is such an original horror movie that is not, well, I guess you would call it elevated horror, as the Gen Z would say. And it's a good movie. This is one of the movies like this year, mainstream horror movies has been a win. Like they've been good. They've been great. So I don't know. It's a catch. But will the movie
Period.
be catch? We're going to take off our deep dive retrospective. We're going to post on, and because of how many movies it is, we're going to actually postpone it to next year. Because if we start it in a few weeks, it'll cut into some things that I planned in January. So we're just going to have to completely push this movie, push the franchise review into March of next year, and we'll be covering that franchise no matter what. It's set in stone now for March of next year. But to make up for it, we were going to be doing something different. Yeah, but to make up for it, we will be reviewing some good movies up until we end the year. And first off, we're going to be starting off with a movie that I have loved since I was a kid. I know it's the other two, you guys probably won't like it as much. It is a goofy, fun, weird, like 90s horror movie.
If you like this episode, please be sure to check out some from the Haddonfield Horror Cemetery, where we've covered big franchises such as Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Saw, or one-off reviews like The Blackening or Hereditary. You can follow Haddonfield Horrors on Instagram and TikTok, where the host posts updates and mini reviews. Full episodes are available on several podcasting platforms, including Spotify, as well as YouTube. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe. The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is produced by Mark Smart, Tawan Griffin, and Elian Cordova, themed by Lethal Injection, and edited by Mark Smart.
The Haddonfield Horror Podcast is a letter to media production.
Should we do an intro?